Bears Baseball Network. We had a very full weekend of baseball, a lot of storylines, but none bigger than maybe the biggest tournament win of the season. 16U or 15U Driskell wins the 15-16U Game Time Tournament this weekend and absolutely took care of business. And what's more impressive, obviously a 15U team playing in a 15-16U tournament, win the top bracket, and the team they beat in the championship beat Dalton to get to the championship, and the team they beat first game Saturday beat Floyd. So this team beat two teams that beat the teams higher level than them. I mean, just a great overall effort. If you want to hear us talk about in-depth the entire weekend from this Driskell team, go ahead and check out BBN After Dark. But KJ, how about the grit shown by this team going out there, playing in a game where everybody knows you're the underdog? You know, you just saw this team beat Dalton. You're going into the game. I don't know how Jeff was able to keep them engaged and keep them believing they could win the game, but a great effort from the team. What do you think about this 15 Driskell team this weekend, KJ?
Yeah, you know, and I think it's a thing that everyone contributed. I think we've seen it past weekends that, you know, sometimes it's one or two guys that are doing all the hitting, and then the rest of it is kind of inconsistent. But if you saw this weekend, there's a lot of guys, different guys stepping up, a lot of guys doing the right thing on that team and taking advantage of their opportunities.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it's what we always preach, right? The point of being on the lower level teams is to move your way up from the top. I mean, this Driskell roster is full of teams or players who have been on the top team and are getting some reps on the bottom team, and also full of players who are going to be on the top team in the future. So, Bernie, a lot of players who I think are going to be future top team players on this team, but a couple players I did want to highlight, starting with Lucas Perry, who really headed out the pitching staff this weekend. 10 Ks to 2 walks, absolutely shoved all weekend long. Bernie, this guy's been a precision pitching guy for a long time. What did you think of Lucas Perry this weekend?
Yeah, you know, like you said, Lucas has always been interested in pitching, and I've always liked him, just his attitude in that. But recently, as I started helping out these 15 practices, I started liking Lucas even more. I think his work ethic and practice is, you know, at least much more than I saw in precision. And I think he's at a point now where, you know, he throws hard, he can throw strikes now, and that's the question for Lucas. Lucas can throw harder. He has decent off speed. It's just how consistent is he in the zone. Looks like he was locked in this weekend, and I think that he'll continue doing that rest of the fall.
Yeah, he took care of business on the mound, and it is actually a lot of different guys who were doing it at the plate. Several different guys had very good weekends. It was hard to pick just one, but one player that I do think is a future 15U Floyd guy on this Driskell team, who I thought had a really nice weekend, was Jude Ramirez. And this is a guy who has all the physical traits you want in a prospect. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, but really put up a nice weekend as well. KJ, what do you think about Jude Ramirez, and where do you see his future being on this 15U Floyd team?
Yeah, he's a guy he's got the body you want. He's a big, tall kid, and he swings the bat hard. I think that was the biggest thing when he first came here, was getting him to swing, you know, at his full effort. And I think he's starting to do that, and he's starting to hit some balls hard. And I think, he's got the kind of body that Rob likes. I think he definitely could slot in that order for Floyd over the winter.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for this Driskell squad, which really I think pushed them over the edge this weekend, was the defense. Very few errors as a team this weekend, and honestly, when Lucas Perry wasn't on the mound, there wasn't a lot of strikeouts from the pitching staff. So this defense had to make a ton of plays and got a ton of outs. And I know Jeff, talking with him, he said that this may have been the best outfield performance he's seen as his time as a Bears coach. Will Diekman was out there flying down balls. Jude Ramirez was playing some outfield, making catches out there. Just a team effort on defense. So very, very impressive from the boys on Driskell. Great win for these guys. Back-to-back walk-offs in the two games. So congrats to the Driskell boys. 18U Floyd also took care of business this weekend. It feels like the theme for 18U Floyd in the last couple weeks was been winning ugly. You know, this team has not been super, super polished. They've had questions in the lineup, questions in the rotation. But this weekend, they won pretty, to kind of say how dominant they were this weekend. Seemed like a lot of different guys were stepping up. Adam Tobias, if you forgot about this guy, he's hitting .690 in the September month. This guy seems like he's all the way back. Mac Floyd is in MVP form. Brendan's taking care of business. You got guys stepping up like Fred, Rose Selby, and then on the mound, Elliott had his best outing of the fall. Mac Floyd had a great outing. Rocky Tucker took care of business. Andrew Engelken was up there pumping strikes. So this team, they took care of business this weekend. None of their games were ever in doubt. Bernie, what do you think of this 18U Floyd squad? It feels like they're starting to come together as a roster, and we're dominant this weekend.
Yeah, I know part of their winning ugly problems has been, I know Rob's been saying they can't throw strikes on the mound, or at least they've not been very good at it. But Angelkin went out there. I believe Angelkin had 0 walks. Elliott, I think, had 1 walk, 8 Ks. Brady Heck had 0 walks his first outing back. So as a pitching staff, they were much more clean. Defense was clean. Like you said, guys like Fred Smith, Mack and Brennan did their thing. Guys stepped up.
Yeah, it was an all-around weekend. Not really. This was one of those weekends where there was no weakness for this team. They did everything right, and you saw that in the scoreboard. I mean, they really took care of business. So I'm excited to see if this is a turning point for this team, that they're starting to mold together as a squad, and we'll see them dominate the rest of the season. So very, very excited for that. Let's go ahead into the Legitometer. So we haven't done this in a long time. Basically how it works is I'm going to give each of these guys 2 players, and I want them to give me a ranking on a scale of 1 to 10 of how legit they think this performance is. So 10 means you think this is 100% legit. This is 100% the real version of this player. 1 means you think it's entirely the opposite of this player. So let's go ahead and KJ, we're going to start with you. The first player I want to talk about is Kam Bernstein. If you listen to BBN After Dark, we were raving about this guy's pitching, but I actually want to talk about his hitting, because sneakily, with how much we've been talking about his pitching, he's been dominant. This weekend, he was Dyson on the mound, but secretly, his bat has come alive over this month of September. In September, he's hitting his OPS is 1322. He's hitting 533 at the plate, and he's second on the team in the OPS. KJ, I know you've been around Kam for a long time. He's been that kind of player who is streaky at times. So this month of September, do you see it as just a empty streak, or do you see this as a breakout for Kam? Give me a number 1 to 10 on the Legitometer.
Yeah, I think the thing for Kam that's always held him back is confidence in himself. He's got all the physical tools, but I think a lot of it can attest to how good he's been pitching. I think he got a ton of confidence from how good he's been pitching, and he's taking that confidence into his at-bats. And I don't see that confidence in pitching going anywhere soon. Do I think he's going to be second on the team in extra base hits in a full season? I don't know. Do I think he's going to be 533 average or a 1300 OPS? Probably not. But I think he is back to a big-time hitter. I'm going to give this one like a 7 to 8 on the Legitometer.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I mean, Kam, to me, this feels more than a hot streak, KJ. Like you kind of mentioned, feels like his confidence has changed. I don't remember if I said this on BBN After Dark or if it was off air just talking to you guys, but it feels like Kam has matured a lot in the last year. We used to talk about this guy as a very emotional player, which sometimes you like. You like a lot of emotion. You like guys to go out there and care whether they succeed or not, but it feels like Kam has really matured over the past year, and it's really showing in his play. So very, very impressed by Kam Bernstein. The next breakout, again, this is a guy we've been talking about a ton all year long for his hitting, but I want to talk about his pitching. In the month of September, Harrison Bloebaum has really taken care of business on the mound. This is a guy who got in precision pitching toward the beginning of the season, and he said, I want to be a top pitcher. And he promised Bernie, I'm going to put the work in to be a pitcher. And in the month of September, he's thrown 9 innings, 10 Ks, just 4 walks. He's got the lowest ERA on the team, and he's got a 1.94 FIP, which is second on the team. Bernie, I'm not sure that he's a lowest ERA on the team type pitcher, but he's definitely been really, really good so far this fall. What do you give Harrison Bloebaum on the Legitometer for his pitching this fall?
Yeah, like you said, I don't know if he's the lowest ERA on the team type of guy. But look, these first 2 outings he's been out there, right, in September. It's not like I've been throwing him up there against just 2 teams just to get him used to pitching, right? I've kind of thrown him to the wolves. He's faced 2 very good squads. His 2 pitching outings he's shut him down. I think he's around like the mid 4 ERAs, right? I think he could be around that, but I think guys like Owen Lewis will have a low ERA eventually. So I'll give him a solid 8 or 9 because I think he'll keep that ERA, but I just don't think that that 4 ERA will be enough to be the best on the team necessarily.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for Harrison that's been so impressive is that he's been able to throw strikes with 2 different pitches, That's kind of the barrier for entry now to pitch on the Bears, All the time you get kids who want to pitch and, they'll ask you to put them on the mound. But really, especially for our varsity teams, you don't get on the mound unless you can throw strikes with 2 pitches. And Harrison Bloebaum, he didn't get to get on the mound until he proved he could do that, He's been in precision pitching for a long time. He's wanted to get on the mound in a game for a long time, but he didn't get out there until he could do both, and he's been very fantastic this September. I think that's a great call, Bernie. I was going to give him a 9 myself on the Legitometer, so I think that's a very good call. Moving on to our next guy here, Mason Gettys, who has been a superb hitter for this 14 Floyd squad in the month of September. He's top 3 on the team in batting average, OPS, and slugging percentage on the team. He's also tied for the team lead in RBIs, and the Mason Gettys special, he is leading the team in 2-out RBIs. That's kind of been his calling card all season long, is those 2-out clutch moments. But Mason Gettys, it feels like he's not just a clutch hitter anymore. He's not just a RISP guy, a runner in scoring position guy. It seems like he's taking great at-bats all the time. Is he top 3 on this team at the plate? I think that's a hard sell. But KJ, what do you think Mason Gettys, these September numbers, what do you give him on the Legitometer?
Yeah, again, I don't think he's a top 3 guy in all the big hitting statistics. I don't know if he's going to be your team leader in RBIs, but like Robbie said, every time he's called upon, he gets it done, and he's always been one of those hitters, and he's turning it more into a guy you can call off the bench to get it done, as a guy when he's in the starting lineup, he'll get it done. Robbie put him on the mound, and he got it done. He's just one of those guys who's always getting it done, and I think he could evolve into this, but on the Legitometer, I'm going to give him about a 6 right now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. I think top 3 on the team is a little bit of a hard sell, but I think a 6 to me, KJ, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, 6 on Legitimeter means he's probably top 6 or 7, right, on the team. And I think that's 100% realistic for this guy. Obviously, in the month of September, he's been 3rd. I think once these guys who are kind of below him get back to their normal selves, I could see Mason kind of settling in that 5, 6, 7 role on the team where he's right in the middle of the lineup contributing at the high level. So very impressed by what this guy has done all fall long. Finally, the last guy here on the Legitometer is Fred Smith. We've been talking all fall long about who is the number 4 hitter on this 18 Floyd squad, and Fred Smith right now is top 4 in OPS, top 3 in batting average, and had another very nice weekend this weekend. Bernie, I'll tell you what, I think it's very realistic for Fred Smith to be the leadoff type hitter, top 3 in batting average type guy. So I'm leaning pretty high on Legitometer, but what are your thoughts, Bernie? Fred Smith on 18 Floyd on Legitometer.
Yeah, like you said, we've been asking the question all fall. Behind Mac and Brennan, who's 3 and 4, who's the supporting cast there? I think Rose done a nice job. I know Elliott's had a good fall so far. But you look at Fred Smith, top 4 in OPS, top 3 in batting average. So I think I'm going to give Freddie, again, I'm like an 8 or 9, probably leaning toward that 9, just because that I think he's been the best Bernstein guy from the summer season. And I see no reason why, turn of the year in the spring, he can't be the leadoff hitter for the team.
Yeah, I think this guy, he has definitely a high floor. And I think the question is, how high can he raise that ceiling? For me, I think his floor is 5th best hitter on this team, just because he's going to be so consistent, and a team that's kind of riddled with inconsistencies in the lineup, he's going to be that safe guy who's going to go out there, give you consistent at-bats, kind of what we saw from Adam Tobias last year. I think we could see that from Fred Smith the rest of the year, so I think that's a good call, Bernie. That's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network. Next week, we have our September award show. Very excited to see who's going to take home that MVP award, that Cy Young award, and of course, the rest of the awards, including our All-Stars for September. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network, and we'll talk to you all.